Israel's defence minister called the strikes the crossing of all red lines.
What's going on in Middle East, and it can affect people in USA. It started with rockets lighting up the skies over Tel Aviv and ended with a single question echoing across the world. Is this how World War III begins? As explosions shook the Middle East, the world held its breath. Israel, wounded and enraged, vows retaliation. Iran, defiant, warns of fire and fury, and caught in the middle, the United States, a global superpower, now standing at the edge of yet another battlefield, but this time it's different. This isn't just another regional conflict. Behind the headlines are secret deals, military movements, and warnings from top US generals. Carrier groups are repositioned, embassies are on high alert, and intelligence reports hint at a confrontation that could drag half the world into chaos. So, what's really going on? Is this a fight between two old enemies, or is the US being quietly pulled into a war it can't afford? Stay with us, because what you're about to hear may change how you see the next 30 days of global politics forever. The Middle East has always been a hotspot for geopolitical unrest, but what unfolded in the first week of June 2025 has pushed tensions to an entirely new level, one the world can no longer ignore. It all began when Iran accused Israel of launching a covert drone strike near one of its sensitive nuclear research facilities. Though Israel neither confirmed nor denied the action, Iranian officials treated it as an act of war. Within hours, Iran retaliated with a large-scale drone and missile assault, targeting Israeli military bases and air defenses, particularly in the Golan Heights. This was not a symbolic gesture. It was Iran's most direct and aggressive military move against Israel in over a decade. In response, Israel launched a series of devastating airstrikes in Syria and Iraq, but also suspected weapons convoys and instruments linked to Tehran. In a nationally broadcast statement, the Israeli Prime Minister declared, "Those who threaten our people will face the full force of our defense. We will not stand down." This wasn't diplomacy. This was the language of war. For the first time in years, the conflict wasn't just simmering, it was boiling, and it wasn't just regional anymore. As the missiles flew, sirens also sounded in Washington. The United States, Israel's closest ally, was suddenly pulled towards the edge of involvement. This wasn't just about Israel and Iran anymore. It was about alliances, about nuclear thresholds, about a flashpoint that could ignite something far greater and far lower. A spark had been lit, and now the world holds its breath. While missiles crossed skies over the Middle East, the political fallout was already spreading across the Atlantic. For the United States, the situation is not simply a matter of international diplomacy. It's a direct challenge to its long-standing strategic alliances and global reputation. Since the formation of Israel in 1948, the US has been more than just a partner. It's been a guarantor of security, funding billions in defense aid and sharing intelligence at the highest levels. Now, that alliance is being tested like never before. As Iran's attack unfolded, top US military officials were placed on high alert. American warships in the Mediterranean were repositioned. Defense systems in bases across Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE quietly shifted from standard monitoring to active engagement readiness. At the same time, President Biden faced pressure on multiple fronts. Hawkish members of Congress demanded a decisive military response. Others warned against dragging America into another costly conflict in the Middle East. The debate wasn't just partisan, it was the bigger dilemma. If Israel escalates, can the US afford to stay out, politically or militarily? A failure to act could be seen as abandonment. Stepping in too far might provoke a broader regional war, or worse, a global one. Behind closed doors, US diplomats reportedly reached out to European allies, urging coordinated pressure on Iran to de-escalate. But the window for diplomacy may be closing. Each hour of silence feels like a move on the global chessboard. And then there's China and Russia, both watching closely, both keen to exploit any American misstep. In the end, this isn't just about defending an ally, it's about preserving America's influence, maintaining deterrence, and proving to the world that its red lines still mean something. The stakes are no longer theoretical, they are immediate, strategic, and possibly irreversible. In recent days, subtle but unmistakable shifts in global military posture have raised eyebrows among defense analysts. While no country has officially declared war, the language of preparation is echoing louder than ever, not in speeches but in troop deployments, fueled aircraft, and radar signals in the sky. Satellite imagery shows that Israel has mobilized a significant portion of its reserve forces, with convoys of tanks and armored vehicles moving steadily toward northern and southern borders. Anti-missile systems like Iron Dome and David Sling have been repositioned not only to intercept incoming threats, but also to shield strategic launch sites. Meanwhile, Iran is not standing still. Its Revolutionary Guard Corps has ramped up operations, transferring ballistic missiles closer to its western front. There are confirmed reports of increased naval activity in the Persian Gulf, including fast attack boats and submarines shifting formations near U.S. naval patrol zones. A calculated move, many believe. But perhaps the most telling developments come from outside the Middle East. American surveillance planes have been spotted making repeated flights near Iranian airspace. U.S. aircraft carriers stationed in the Indo-Pacific are being rerouted to the Mediterranean, and strategic bombers are now stationed in European bases for joint training exercises, which notably were not on the original NATO calendar. European NATO allies have begun reviewing their own readiness. Britain raised its DEFCON status quietly, while Germany and France held emergency briefings with military leadership. Even countries usually neutral in Middle Eastern conflicts, like Turkey and Egypt, have tightened border controls and begun monitoring regional air traffic more aggressively. Defense insiders warn that we are no longer looking at isolated acts of retaliation. These are pre-positioning movements, the kind that typically precede not just politically but militarily, and with every tank that rolls, every missile system armed, and every battleship realigned, the margin for error shrinks. In a world so wired, so fragile, and so divided, it may take just one misfire to turn these movements from signals into sparks. And now, we want to hear from you. Do you think the current tension is just another political storm, or are we standing at the edge of something far more serious? Could this really spiral into a global conflict, or is it just posturing on a global stage? Your perspective matters, so share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation that goes deeper than headlines. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more detailed analysis on the stories shaping our world. The world is changing faster than ever, and staying aware might be the most important thing we can do. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay safe.